Hi, I'm Spencer, and that's my audience. Though they seem awesome to us when we're young, as adults, we realize that zoos aren't what they're all cracked up to be. Imagine being in an enclosed space with little to do to keep you active. Imagine making a friend and then one day that friend being ripped away. This is what life is like for zoo animals. Ever since I was little, I've always been interested in animals and I've always wanted what is best for them. Due to my compassion and research in this topic, I am here to speak to you today about the cruelty of zoos. Based on the survey, the majority of you agree that zoos exist for human enjoyment and the animals are not happy. However, 36% of you are undecided. I will show you research has shown today that these animals are not happy and zoos are not for their benefit. Today, I will explain to you that zoos are not in the animals' interests, that they should be closed, and what you can do to help. First, let's begin with looking at the problem with zoos. Zoos are harmful for animals and don't provide benefits for their existence. Zoo animals aren't happy or healthy. Zoos do not provide invaluable education and research. Zoos do not contribute to conservation of the animals in the wild. There are several causes to these problems. First, zoo environments aren't the same as the animals' natural habitats. Enclosures are small and their space is very limited. In the article, Sad Eyes and Empty Lives, CaptiveAnimals.org explains lions and other big cats have 18,000 times less space to roam in than in the wild. This is a huge issue for animals that would travel for several miles every day. According to CaptiveAnimals.org, frustration and boredom are commonplace amongst animals in the zoos and can lead to obsessive behaviors like pacing, swaying, and self-mutilation. CaptiveAnimals.org further explains, studies have shown that lions in zoos spend 48% of their time pacing. This is not natural behavior for wild animals. Another cause is zoo animals are not treated well. In the article, most zoo animals are happy. Really? PsychologyToday.com shows that there is data to support the claim that living in zoos causes depression, health issues, and shorter lifespans. PsychologyToday.com further explains that zoos often move animals around as if they're objects and they break up long-term friendships. Zoos can also affect animals physically too. According to CaptiveAnimals.org, small cages affect birds' ability to fly, which then gives them they develop arthritis. Zebras suffer from obesity due to the grass being different. A third cause of this problem is that education and research is limited in this environment. Zoos are man-made. This type of setting is not ideal for learning the true behaviors of wild animals. Zoos exist mainly just to entertain humans, and that does not justify the ways zoo animals are forced to live their lives. Last, zoos do not contribute as much to the conservation of wild animals as we believe. In fact, zoos do not do nearly what they could do to help animals from becoming extinct. According to TakePark.com, over 180 million people visit zoos every year, yet only 1% of these funds are used for conservation efforts. These problems are causes and need to be addressed immediately for the sake of the animals. Next, let's examine the ways to solve this problem. The solution to this is to close down zoos so that animals don't have to suffer. Zoos are not a necessary part of our lives. If zoos close, animals most likely will not be able to live out in the wild since they will not know how to survive. However, in the article, Is It Time to Close All the Zoos?, PublicRadioInternational.org explains that there are places for zoo animals if zoos close. According to Outside Magazine writer Tim Zimmerman, they can be moved to sanctuary-style habitats and parks that provide animals with more room to roam around and have more authentic lifestyles. Next, the education we receive at zoos does not have a real impact on us. According to Psychology.com, most people don't develop a dedication to animals from visiting a zoo. Also, as allcreatures.org explains in the article, Do We Need Zoos?, there are better ways to learn about these wild animals. According to the executive director of a social justice group, Learning about these animals in their natural habitat is much more beneficial. Last, there are groups that promote conservation of wild animals much better than zoos. According to TakePark.com, the Wildlife Conservation Society gives more than half of its money to conservation efforts, unlike the 1% that zoos give. Clearly, these solutions will end cruelty towards zoo animals and promote better efforts towards saving animals in the wild. If these solutions are put into place, life will be made better for wild animals. Imagine how great life is for wild animals as well as people because zoos are closed. Animals are happier and healthier as they are free to roam in their natural habitats. Adults and children can enjoy learning the true facts about wild animals through documentaries that scientists and researchers create. According to allcreatures.org, people can travel to exotic locations to observe them firsthand in the wild. Animals in the wild are also more protected by groups dedicated to conservation efforts. This world without zoos provides a more humane way to treat animals in the wild while also allowing people to stay enjoying learning about them. In conclusion, zoos do not need to cease to exist. The problems created by zoos can be solved by simply closing them. Remember those lions that were pacing around with little to do and have no space? These animals are unhappy and depressed. Watching these animals in a zoo is not quality education because they don't represent the true traits of their species. Zoos are not doing nearly enough to help conserve these species in the wild. Please get involved. As PETA.org explains, instead of patronizing zoos, you can help animals by spreading organizations that work to protect captive animals from exploitation and preserve habitats. Also, please visit the Wildlife Conservation Society webpage to make a donation to their conservation efforts. In closing, as adults, we know that zoos are not an awesome place to visit. A world without zoos is a step in the right direction towards respecting and protecting wildlife.